Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're waking up feeling literally exhausted by your own perfectly curated multi-step wellness routine, I want you to know right off the bat, you are not alone. Right now, there's a massive shift happening, and we absolutely need to talk about it. We're seeing so many people, especially creators, influencers, and folks deeply invested in the longevity space, just hitting a wall. You know the drill. You've got the specialized lighting, the tracking rings, the ultra-specific morning supplements, and yet you are profoundly tired. Today, we're looking at the hard data and the cellular biology behind why our relentless pursuit of perfect health is actually backfiring on us. And more importantly, how we can fix it.
Okay, let's dive into this because this question flips everything we've been told about optimization right on its head. I really want to speak directly to the creators and the wellness influencers out there who treat their health like a second full-time job. You're putting immense pressure on yourself to hit every single metric every single day, right? But what if the sheer anxiety of managing that complex morning routine, the fear of a bad sleep score or a missed step in your protocol, is the exact thing keeping your body from healing? What if the pursuit of the ultimate biohack is actually creating biological damage?
The cultural landscape is shifting rapidly. By mid-2026, we're seeing this massive viral trend emerge, and it's being called the over-optimization backlash. Millions of people are just rebelling against these hyper-expensive, tech-driven health trackers. They're tapping out. They're looking at their wrists, looking at their apps, and realizing, wow, we are completely exhausted by this self-surveillance culture. It's not empowering anymore. It's exhausting. People are actively demanding simpler, stress-free ways to support their longevity. Because this current model of monitoring literally every breath and heartbeat, it's fundamentally unsustainable.
So that brings us to section 1, the tracker trap, when wellness becomes exhausting. If you're an influencer who's deeply passionate about longevity, you probably started tracking your health to gain a sense of control. But somewhere along the line, that desire kind of morphed into a tightly wound trap. We expect these intense 15-step protocols to give us perfect health, endless energy, and total control over our biology. But the reality? The reality is chronic performance anxiety, high-stress checklists, absolute burnout. The emotional weight of trying to be perfectly healthy is actually crushing people right now.
Let's look at the daily reality for so many. The over-optimization checklist. Waking up to 12 different biometric markers. Wearing up to 3 tracking devices simultaneously, maybe a ring, a watch, and a continuous glucose monitor all at once. Managing these rigid, high-stress daily routines. Tick, tick, tick. From the absolute second you open your eyes, you're gathering data, analyzing data, and judging yourself based on that data. It's a frantic, rapid-fire way to live, and it leaves absolutely no room for grace or, just simply being in your body.
Moving on to section 2, the biological backfire, cortisol and your cells.
Now, we're going to slow down for a second here, because this is the massive content gap that nobody in the viral wellness space is talking about. We all know tracking makes us feel mentally tired, but we really need to look at the hard cellular biology of tracking stress. The crucial point is understanding a process called autophagy. Autophagy is the natural biological process where your body clears out and recycles worn-out, aging cellular structures. Think of it like your body's internal house cleaning and recycling center. This process is the absolute foundation of natural cell renewal, longevity, and healthy aging. If you want to stay biologically young and healthy, you need autophagy to run smoothly.
But here is where the trap snaps shut. Enter neurological autophagy inhibitors. When your brain is constantly worrying about achieving perfect metrics, when you have that chronic mental stress and performance anxiety about your routine, you flood your system with cortisol. And this low-grade, constant stream of cortisol acts as a chemical alert system. It's literally telling your cells there's an active threat, a predator, a full-blown emergency. And when your body thinks it's in an emergency, it completely shuts down cellular cleanup. You just cannot rest and repair while your biology is preparing to run for its life.
Let's move to and see how this builds into what researchers call the biohacking stress loop. We start with waking up and immediately checking those 12 daily metrics. Maybe your sleep score is slightly lower than you wanted. Boom. Step 2, the alert. Your cortisol spikes from that imperfect data. Step 3, the cage. Your body enters a high-alert survival mode because of that chemical flood. And finally, step 4, the shutdown. Autophagy and cellular repair completely halt. The crazy thing is, the very routine you built to extend your life is biologically preventing your cells from renewing. To really visualize this biological lockdown, imagine a microscopic view of your cells. Your cell's recycling center is gearing up to clear out older proteins. But suddenly, because you're stressed about your sleep score, a wave of jagged amber cortisol molecules drops down. They lock over the recycling center like a heavy physical cage. The mechanism is locked completely tight. Tissue renewal is entirely paralyzed. Your cells are essentially frozen in an inflammatory state of stress.
Which brings us to section 3, the minimalist recovery shift, simplicity as the ultimate biohack. Okay, take a breath with me here. We're shifting away from the heavy science of cortisol blockades and stepping into a completely new paradigm. A paradigm that doesn't ask you to buy anything, track anything, or stress over anything. On one hand, we have tech-heavy routines, which we now know trigger that jagged amber stress pulse and literally lock ourselves down. But on the other hand, we have minimalist recovery. This approach is all about tapping into our biology to trigger a calming, violet vagus nerve wave that physically opens those cellular pathways right back up. True longevity requires a biological state of safety, and sometimes, honestly, that means physically removing the devices to just stop that heavy digital hum in our minds.
I want you to let this statement really sink in. True cellular longevity comes from making your nervous system feel completely safe. It doesn't come from tracking harder. Taking off the smartwatch, unclasping it from your wrist, and placing it in a drawer isn't just a mental break. It is the first critical biological step to dropping your shoulders, releasing that data anxiety, and signaling to your body that the threat is entirely gone. Let's look at section 4, the physiological sigh, a zero-cost neuro-wellness reset. Now, what's really interesting about this is, if we're taking off the trackers, how do we actively tell ourselves they're safe? Well, we do it through a simple, actionable, sensory-based micro-rest protocol. This isn't just theory, guys. It's a mechanical override for your nervous system. It's called the cellular reset or the physiological sigh. I actually want you to try this with me right now. Step 1, take a sharp inhale through the nose, followed immediately by another short inhale to fully expand the lungs. Step 2, release a long, sweeping, extended exhale through the mouth. When you do this, step 3 happens biologically. You instantly activate the vagus nerve and drop your cortisol levels. And finally, step 4, your cells receive the all-clear signal, they reopen, and they resume recycling waste. When you execute that sweeping exhale, feel the weight of your metrics physically leave your shoulders. That constant, jagged performance anxiety, that amber stress pulse we visualized earlier, it dissolves entirely. It's replaced by a deep, profound sense of calm restoration. A soothing wave of violet light, representing that vagus nerve energy, floods your tissue. In that moment of pure stillness, you aren't an influencer, you aren't a data point, you are just a person breathing. Those frozen silver cells crack back open, releasing vibrant healing particles. You are literally turning your cellular repair back on through nothing but your breath. 0. That is the number of devices you need to achieve perfect natural cell renewal. It requires $0, it requires 0 biometric metrics, and 0 complex morning protocols. The absolute most powerful biological intervention for longevity is completely free, and it's built directly into your nervous system. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If over-optimizing is shutting down your cellular health and simple nervous system regulation turns it back on, what will you achieve when you finally stop tracking and start living? It's time to ditch the wellness anxiety, put the watch in the drawer, take a double inhale, let out a long sigh, and reclaim your longevity by simply letting your body do what it already knows how to do. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.